is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have some takeaways from Detroit Lions training camp. Day number 2 is in the books, as you guys know. It's in the books. Come on, man. So let's get it started.
Way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome, everybody, to our video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, we have some Lions training camp talk. Now, before we get this video started, I do have a couple of announcements before we get into this. First off, we will be live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, on Last Second Dose. Me and my man Rad will be live on this channel, so make sure you guys check it out. We'll be talking about some training camp. We're going to also update the NBA draft. I know a lot of people are excited. The Pistons' first pick. I think we know who they're going to take. However, we got some things to talk about tonight, so make sure you guys check in there. Hopefully this video comes out before the show, because otherwise this isn't very beneficial. Also, I have released a new design on the Dodge Shop, capital D, capital O, capital D Shop, no spaces. You can look it up on Google, or you can click the link in the description, and I'm calling this the New Era design. It has like a lot of our different coaches on it. It says New Era. I think it looks pretty clean. I actually ordered one today. I got the short sleeve in black, and I was like, hey, let's get it. It's a little hot. It's a little hot for the sweatshirt, but hey, I don't know, maybe where you're at, it's not hot. Maybe you're in a cold place right now and you want to warm up. Check it out, New Era shirts. So yeah, you guys click the link in the description. I put them in a community as well, but I don't know, I like it. I drew some inspiration here from the Avengers. I brought that up in a video and someone's like, man, is that merch coming? I was like, oh, shoot, it might have to. So yes, here it is. Here's the merch. But now, let's get into Lions training camp. Actually, I have one more thing that I got to discuss, and this has nothing to do with Lions training camp, but it is an NFC North note. Green Bay Packers have traded a 6th-round pick for 2022 for receiver Randall Cobb from the Houston Texans. So Trey Wingo, who wrote that article, and I was like, man, what's he talking about? He was on it. He was right. Now, recently, Aaron Rodgers had an interview where he discussed his time with the Green Bay Packers, and he said really his irritation with the Green Bay Packers was that he didn't have enough say. You know, he wasn't really happy about how the front office was kind of not really doing what he wanted. He wanted more say on personnel decisions, draft, signing players, and that's why he had some issues with it. So Randall Cobb may have been a test. Like, I want Randall Cobb, and they went out and did it. Now, he has made it kind of clear that he's not guaranteeing he's going to be there in 2022. It does still sound like the last ride, but that's kind of what this move seemed to be. Hopefully we beat the Packers week 2. That's all I can say about that, okay? I just really want to beat this team because of how much news they're getting. But anyways, Randall Cobb is a Packer. I thought I'd just throw that out there before we got into the training camp. Before we get into this is about the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell did address the Lions leaving that roster spot open, and he says pretty much the same reasons that I brought up. We don't want to have to cut somebody if there's someone we want to go sign. If we have to go sign somebody for some reason, we don't want to have to go cut somebody or make something happen just to go bring in that player. We want to be able to just sign him. So that's why they're leaving that roster spot open. It's kind of what we talked about yesterday. He kind of gave the same answer there. He said if something happens and we need a spot, we don't have to go through who are we cutting. You know, so it's just simple as that. Not cutting someone out of urgency because we need to grab a player. We can just sign him because we have that spot open anyway. So that's why they're leaving that spot open. And also he said that Taylor Decker also received his vaccine. I just thought I'd throw that in here. But let's start off this video the same way we did yesterday. I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter, but you know, sometimes I just over talk a little bit. However, I want to start off the same way. We want to start off with the participation report, okay? The attendance, who was there, who was not there for the Detroit Lions. And I want to say there's good news because there is some good news, but there's also some bad news because there were some players also missing today. And one of them we weren't really expecting. So who was there, who was not there? Well, Bruce Hector, today was his first day at Lions training camp. I thought he may have been there yesterday, but apparently he was not there yesterday. So today was his first day, so that's awesome. Didn't hear anything about Bruce Hector, but he was there. So we'll see how that goes throughout preseason. You have some good news. Javon McKinley has been taken off the NFI list. That's pretty awesome. So Javon McKinley no longer on the NFI list for the Lions. That means he gets to go back out there and participate. Only missed 1 day of training camp, and that's big because there's a lot of these receivers that are surprising people, it sounds like, but also putting in a lot of work after practice, like Khalif Raymond, like Victor Bolden, right? So it's important that he can get out there and compete. Chad Hansen has made some plays. So we need to see him get on the field. He's paid a lot of money as an undrafted free agent, tied for the most guaranteed money. So it is nice to know that Javon McKinley is healthy and he's back out there participating with the Detroit Lions in training camp. But we do have some bad news. First off, CJ Moore was absent today, and we don't know why. We don't have any reason for that. I'm sure we'll get something from Dan Campbell probably tomorrow, but we don't have any reason as of now why CJ Moore was not there participating with the Detroit Lions today, the safety. And that's a big deal because the safety position is, you know, I wouldn't even know if I want to say heating up, but it's a position that Dan Campbell is keeping a very close close eye on. And CJ Moore was getting a lot of second-team reps, plus he is, we know, a special team stud. So he was in a good spot. Hopefully we're able to get CJ Moore back on the field soon, and we'll get an update on what's going on there. Austin Bryant remains on the PUP list. Hopefully he gets back soon, right? The edge position is another position where there's a lot of competitors, plus Reggie Gilbert had a good day today. So we need to see him get back on the field because I think Reggie Gilbert is, like 100% competition for Austin Bryant. Jalen Reese-Maybin still on the COVID list. Same thing with Evan Hyman. Evan Brown remains on the NFI list. So I'd say there was some good news today. Also, some potential bad news as well with the whole CJ Moore situation. Plus, Hunter Thedford left practice early today. He was able to walk off on his own power. The Lions may have been just taking it, just be careful with it. No need to force the guy back onto the field. If he's dealing with something, let's let him rest. Let's be a little bit precautionary with this. He left on his own power in 11-on-11 drills. I don't know what happened. That's not good news because the tight end position, we're looking at Alize Mack as possibly the number 3 tight end, but it's that number 4 tight end position, if the Lions keep 4 tight ends, that he's really battling for. And there's a couple of names that are really starting to pop up. That's Brock Wright, Jake Hausman. So Hunter Thedford is trying to get his name into that mix. This is not good news. So I would say there's good news today with Javon McKinley. And there's also arguably some bad news was what went down. But, it's football. Stuff like this happens. Just hopefully all these guys can get back very quickly because we want to see them all out there and participate. Now let's get into this training camp talk. Let's get into some of the takeaways. And no, I don't have any video on Dan Campbell doing 40 up downs today. He probably did something like that. It wouldn't surprise me if he did. I'm assuming he'll be doing stuff like that throughout the entire season with the Detroit Lions. But we do have some updates on the offense. So I want to start with the offense side of the ball first, and then we'll go into the defense. Let me start off with the receiver position because the Lions today played a lot more subsets, which means they showed 3 receiver sets. They showed nickelbacks defensively. Yesterday, they just played basically strictly base sets. Today was a little bit more sub packages. So we did get to see some roster lineups offensively and defensively when they put 3 receivers on the field. Now this will still expand. You're going to see 4 receiver sets, potentially 5, wide sets. You have a few designations, it looks like, at least where the Lions are planning to play certain players so far. So I'm going to throw this on the screen right now. As you can see, this is the receiver positions and where guys were lining at for the Lions. All right, as you can see, the X wide receiver position, which is the guy that's on the line of scrimmage, they have to usually be pretty physical, able to beat the press, able to beat man coverage because they're very easy to press against because they're up against the line of scrimmage. I felt like Rashad Perriman was the perfect X receiver. Like that was the perfect spot for him because he's very tough in man coverage. He has that take the top off type of speed, and he's big and strong enough to play that position. Behind him was Victor Bolden and Quintez Cephas getting those reps in base sets. So when they were playing base, when they weren't going 3 receivers, which opens up the slot position, those were the 3 guys playing that role. Victor Bolden's an interesting one. All right, because he's definitely on the smaller side, but we'll see how that goes. And Quintez Cephas, we were kind of wondering how the Lions would like to utilize him. I do like utilizing him here because I feel like, guys like Geronimo Allison, who's also competing for a spot, this is a position that potentially if Quintez Cephas can win, this could be that X receiver depth that the Lions could have. Now, there are names missing, like Geronimo Allison, like Javon McKinley, like Sage Surratt, and that's probably because they only had a limited amount of reps. However, when we get to preseason, as we go through training camp, we'll start to hear more about these players. At the Z receiver position, which is the position that's off the line of scrimmage, they can go in motion, so they can go inside, outside. You see Tyrell Williams. Great spot for Tyrell because Tyrell, we know how dominant he was from the slot. And the Lions are going to utilize him there occasionally this season. Anthony Lynn did it a ton. But the Z receiver position allows him to do that. You can motion him inside or you can keep him on the outside. You can attack deep. You could drag him across the middle. It opens up pretty much the entire route tree for a guy like Tyrell Williams. Khalif Raymond also getting reps here. Interesting one because Khalif Raymond in the past, even though he's a little bit on the smaller side compared to a lot of our other receivers, he hasn't played a lot of slot. So Z is interesting because it gives you a little bit of mix of both. And being able to play on the outside, but also play on the inside for Khalif Raymond. And also Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you're only going 2 receiver sets for Khalif Raymond and St. Brown, that's the position you put him at. Amon-Ra St. Brown, for sure, he was just so dominant from the inside, from the slot, less dominant from the outside back in college, that putting him at the X receiver position wouldn't make a lot of sense. But again, he probably won't even do that a ton this year. He'll probably, a lot of times when he's on the field, just be in the slot. So when they went to those 3 wide sets, that's what we were looking at. Rashad Perriman holding down the X receiver role with Quintez Cephas. Because they went to 3 wide sets, it meant that St. Brown and Khalif Raymond now was playing in slot. So Raymond's going to be interesting I'm very intrigued to see how he does playing from that slot position because it is something that's a little bit new because he didn't really do it in the past. However, we know he has the quickness, we know he has the speed to do it, he's a good pass catcher, and he's pretty darn physical for his size. So that'll be interesting. And the Z receiver, of course, was Tyrell Williams and Victor Bolden. So I just want to show you guys that real quick, to show you some of the position designations for some of these receivers that we've gotten so far. Again, we'll hear more. Not every receiver is listed, but it does give us kind of a general idea of how Lions are looking at these guys. And I wouldn't say there's any really surprises on this list. I think this is all stuff that we kind of expected. We've got a lot of guys cross-training, same starting five, Sewell at right tackle, Decker left tackle, Jonah, Frank, Big V. However, Terrell Crosby was sticking around with that first unit with the offensive line. Now, not starting, but he was mixing in at left tackle, guard, and right tackle. So he was playing a lot of different spots, and Terrell Crosby kind of seems to be that sixth man for the Lions. Seems like they're bringing him along as a sixth man, where, hey, wherever we need something, if we need to plug in a player, Crosby will be our go-to. That seems to be what they're trying to go for here. Plus, Anthony Lynn did utilize, occasionally, some 6 offensive lineman sets, especially back with the Buffalo Bills. So if you want to do that, Crosby could also do that for the Detroit Lions. But it is nice to have a player like that you know what you're going to get. But behind that is where we have a lot of question marks. You don't really know what you're going to get. We got a lot of young players, a lot of new players. So we're just going to see how those battles play out. It's probably one of the most intriguing position battles because we really have no idea what's going to happen. Who's going to win what role? Who's going to be where? Tommy Kramer, right? Matt Nelson, Drake Jackson. Who's going to be here for the Detroit Lions? Quarterback position is always going to get a lot of attention. Apparently today, Jared Goff wasn't maybe as precise as he was yesterday. He had some missed passes. Specifically, he had an overthrow to TJ Hockenson, which apparently could have been an interception. So I'm assuming that was over the middle and a safety could have jumped down and made a play on it. However, the one thing that I wanted to hear about Jared Goff, we did hear today. Yes, he's going to have his missed passes. Every quarterback does. He's probably going to be a little rusty because we are still early into training camp. However, I wanted to hear if he had control of this offense. And so far, so good. A lot of people have been saying he's picking up on this offense very quickly. And actually, Taylor Decker credited him today, saying that he's able to coordinate protection, which means he's the guy out there calling out pass protection for the offensive line, not relying on the center to do it. Frank Ragnow, he has the ability to do that, and it was very beneficial when we had to go with backup quarterbacks in the past. But for Jared Goff to be on top of things like this, the Lions to give him that freedom is all I've been waiting to hear. I want to know that he has that freedom to run the offense, change things at the line, change protections. That's huge. It's something that they wasn't really doing with the LA Rams. So that's big for me. Must mean that he's feeling pretty darn comfortable in this offense. Wasn't as pinpoint accurate today. He may have missed some passes. That's what I've heard. He wasn't perfect. Like yesterday, he went 4 for 4. But if he has control over this offense, to me, that's what really needs to happen. Backup quarterback position. Whoa, that battle is heating up, baby. Because it looked like Tim Boyle was the obvious number 2. But throughout minicamp, it was like, well, David Blau might be outplaying him. And now here we are, and they're splitting reps at the backup quarterback position with the number 2 unit. So it's not Tim Boyle's ahead, Blau's the third string. We don't really know right now. Now it's getting kind of even, where all of a sudden that battle's heating up. Now, Boyle made some big plays today, and he may have had the pass of the day, but it's really starting to heat up between these two as they're splitting second-team reps. So I like that. The Lions didn't just bring in Boyle and say, hey, you're automatically number 2. There's nothing that David Blau can do here. Running backs continue to be dominant, and this is just great news if you're a Lions fan. I know we're not in pads right now, but man, this is what we want to hear. We want to hear these running backs playing at a high level. We need them to play at a high level. Apparently, DeAndre Swift had about a 75-yard play today. Again, they can't tackle him, but he made a nice cut, and he took off for about 75 yards. Okay, Swift, breaking some big plays. It was a run, from what I understand. He made a nice, decisive cut, and he worked his way upfield for 75 yards. That's pretty awesome. I would love to see some of those big plays next season. And Jamal Williams continues to bring the energy. He's just dancing. Every time I read something about Jamal, it's that he's dancing. He was returning kickoffs. He was dancing. Like, Jamal, man, come on, man. Are you even practicing out there? That's okay. It's okay. He's going to ball out this season anyways. And Dan Campbell spoke on Jamar Jefferson, saying, I've liked what I've seen from Jamar. So, pretty nice praise there from Dan Campbell. The running backs have been good, and from everything that I've read, the running backs are going to be fun to watch this season because we've heard some really good things, and they've come out of the gate swinging. All right, we know Jamar had that pop that came out of his hands, but they've come out ready to go, so that's great news. The tight end position, as we said, it's really the number 4 tight end position battle. Alizé Mack continues to be the number 3, but it's Brock Wright and it's Jake Hausman that are really competing for that spot. Jake Hausman hasn't had a lot of opportunities to make plays in the passing game in the past, but we know he's a proven pass blocker. Alize Mack is a little bit more of a pass catcher. You know, he was a top high tight end coming out of high school, but everything kind of got derailed there. But he is a absolute athlete, okay, that can catch the football. So Hunter Thedford, who I said had to leave practice early, is not something that you want to hear. The Lions keep 4 tight ends, and maybe one of those 2 guys make it, but someone's got to try to knock off Alize Mack. All right, that's what it sounds like. And it sounds like Jake Hausman, from what I've read, is kind of pushing up into that role, if anyone is. TJ Hawkinson continues to get praised for just the way that he looks on the field. And you can see it by some of these pictures. Like, the dude looks super lean, and he looks very fit right now. Like, he looks like he's in a really good spot. He doesn't look all bulky. He looks strong, but he doesn't look all bulky. He looks lean. He looks quick. And Chris Burke said it that, man, his ability to get in and out of breaks for his size, it's incredible. He just looks very fast, very fluid, and he's able to cut in and out of breaks really well. Someone that Jared Goff continues to talk to between plays. There definitely seems to be a chemistry there, because even his bad pass was thrown to TJ Hawkinson. So it seems like things are going well. And that's where Jared Goff had his success today. According to Dan Campbell, the 2 positions that he's watching for is the inside linebacker spot, number 1, and the safety spot, number 2. But where Jared Goff continues to have success, just like he did back with LA, is over the middle. It was usually sideline or over the middle. And so far for Goff, that's where we've seen a lot of success for him, because you have Hawkinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, that's just what he likes to do. Tyrell Williams' ability to drag over the middle. And apparently Tyrell had a nice grab today after Okudah made a nice play defensively over the middle of the field. Perriman, who's been a little bit quiet so far through training camp, did beat Amani Oruwariye today. So the middle of the field is where the Lions need to improve defensively. We do have some solid coverage linebackers. We can talk about Jamie Collins and Alex Anzalone, but it's also be important for those safeties, especially when they dive into the box, to come down and make some plays. That's where the development really needs to take place for that back end and coverage. So that's the spot where Jared Goff continues to have success when attacking this defense. And according to Dan Campbell, those are the 2 spots that he's looking at. He said inside linebacker, not necessarily who the starters are, because to me it seems like Jamie Collins and Alex Anzalone will probably be the starters, but it's who's behind that. Because we could rotate 4 in a game, he said. And there's a lot of comp there. Jalen Reese-Maybin, who's missing right now, but you got Sean Dion Hamilton. You got Jelani Tavai, right? Derek Barnes. There's a lot of players here. Devontae Beckett. There's a lot of guys for about 2 spots at the inside linebacker position on base sets. So that's not going to be easy to earn a role. But that's where Dan Campbell's looking. And then, of course, the safety position. It doesn't seem to be the starters that he's looking at here. The top 3 definitely seem to be Walker, Will, and Dean Marlowe seems to be that 3rd safety as he has split in some reps. But it's behind Dean Marlowe. DJ Moore, like I said, was playing as a 2nd-team safety. So in his place, Jalen Elliott and also Bobby Price split some 2nd-team reps. And apparently the safety battle is coming a little bit more clear of who's kind of up there. So Elijah Holder, you know, those players, they got some work to do, it sounds like. Price, Jalen Elliott, I've heard good things about Bobby Price from multiple places. We know about his size. He's an athlete, okay? But this guy was UDFA last season. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, who becomes the backup safeties. But no CJ Moore, it's an opportunity for someone to step up and win some roles here. Right, it sounds like Tyrell Williams has been the most consistent target for Jared Goff in terms of the receivers. All right, Brashad Perriman's been a little quiet. He made some nice plays occasionally, but he's just been a little quiet so far. And again, we're only 2 days in. Khalif Raymond has been getting some rest, but he hasn't done a ton there. Haven't heard a lot about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I've heard good, but I haven't really heard a lot. However, Tyrell Williams has been kind of the consistent go-to receiver, whether that's deep, short, whatever it may be. So he's definitely looks like the number 1 receiver. Again, I can't say we're too surprised there. In terms of receptions, I'm still going to lean to Amon-Ra St. Brown on the season, but it does sound like Tyrell Williams may not only be making a case for yards, but also for receptions. Defensively, I would say today was a good day for the defense. Day 1 may have went to offense, but today, defense sounds like it did some big things. Let's start off with the secondary first, because I know you guys all want to hear about Hefe. And Hefe has been doing some big things. So far through training camp, he's been good. Everybody I've read has said Jeff Okudah's been good. He's been off to a fast start. And it's really about the confidence. Even going back to minicamp, we talked about how vocal he was off to the sides. He was helping other players. He's loud. He's super engaged. There's just a lot of confidence coming back for year 2. He's coming off of surgery. He understands his body a little bit better. He's getting more time to rest. And so far, he's been off to a hot start, guarding the number 1 receiver, Tyrell Williams, who's playing the Z receiver position. He passed today. That was apparently just a beautiful thrown ball. We haven't seen a lot of shots taken from Jared Goff so far. A lot of his stuff has come intermediate, short, over the middle. That's kind of what he's done in the past, and I think we'll see a lot of that this season. But when he does try to take the top off, Tyrell Williams, Brashad, they're going to be 2 big targets. Khalif Raymond, we know about the deep receivers that we have. Well, they took a shot on Jeff Okudah today, and he had a pass breakup, and apparently Jeff Okudah let everyone know about it after it happened. Now, Tyrell came back, and like I said, he made a play after that, just a few plays later, beating the secondary, but Okudah's been on his game so far. Okudah's been good, and he's probably looking healthy, but he sounds very confident, very loud, very vocal. And one thing that I do like to hear is that he's kind of taking a young guy under his wing, and that's Jerry Jacobs. He said, I think we're the same age, but he's my young bull. That's Jerry Jacobs. Okay, we know about Jerry. We've talked about him a few times. We're going to get him on the show at some point. Yesterday was a standout player. And actually, Jacobs posted the 2 clips, the 2 pass breakups that he did have. And what you can see from these clips when you watch him is you can see that tight coverage. Jerry Jacobs is one of the more confident cornerbacks out there. You can go watch his interviews. He's a very confident guy. All right, and he's going to get in your hip pocket. And you can see it from these clips here, a couple of nice pass breakups. You can see he's a pretty physical corner. He's got good size. So that's kind of his play style. And apparently he's been doing everything he can to just kind of stay around and stick around with Jeff Okudah. He's got a handshake with Okudah. He's got one with Amani too. He's talking to Aubrey Pleasant all the time. So is Jeff Okudah. Okudah's been either speaking with the young guys or he's talking with Aubrey Pleasant because that's who Aubrey Pleasant is. All right, I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but Aubrey Pleasant is someone that everybody has said, man, you got to see this guy work. Even a video clip put out today from Aubrey Pleasant during today's practice. Because apparently he's one of those guys that, look, every time a player makes a mistake, even if he's not near him, he'll go over there. He'll make him do it again. He'll give him some encouragement, some pointers. Because he's a very positive guy, and you can see it just from listening to him talk. And I've always said Aubrey Pleasant is the type of dude that you want to get coached by. And I don't think it's any kind of crazy coincidence that he's developed so many young guys into stars in the NFL. There's something there. Anytime you have a coach that pretty much every player he touches gets better, that's not just coincidence. We did a video about him, but Aubrey Pleasant just seems like a really good coach. But he's also makes it fun, right? Players have talked about it being fun. There's a clip of him dancing for a couple of seconds. That's who Aubrey Pleasant is. And he's a guy that players are going to enjoy to be around because they feel like they can go talk to him. They feel very open with Aubrey Pleasant. Like he's one of the guys. He's out there in drills, running around. He's out there dancing. So he's serious, but he also has that joking side to him. Taking a lot from Aubrey Pleasant, learning a lot from him. Today, Jerry Jacobs did get beat. And I wouldn't even say it was beat because from what I've read, he was in tight coverage, which doesn't surprise me because when you saw those 2 clips, you're like, dang, he's right on that dude. He's in tight coverage, but he was beat by Chad Hansen on a deep pass from Tim Boyle where it was completed. Great pass, good coverage. They just completed the pass deep. And Jeff Okudah was there. Jeff Okudah was there to give him a fist bump, maybe their handshake. I don't know. He was there for him though, and he helps him out. So you like that connection that Jerry Jacobs is growing with these players, but also that Jeff Okudah is doing this. He's reaching out. Okudah is he seemed like a very quiet player year 1, but that's not him at all in year number 2. The confidence is through the roof. And again, that's a product of your environment. You act different based where you're in. It's the truth. You're a product of your environment. If everybody's kind of quiet, no one's talking, no one's having fun, no music's playing, it's like, okay, what are we doing? But all of a sudden this year, we're cranking the return of the Mac. Everything changes, right? Just knowing that alone means that the Lions are playing music in practice. They didn't do that last year. That wasn't a thing. Now they're playing music in practice. Players are dancing. Jamal's dancing every single time I read something. Seems like he and Amani are still the 1 and 2 as they're not working the special teams gunner drills. It's Quentin Dunbar as like the 3 who's going over there and doing that. But speaking on cornerbacks, Michael Ford, when the Lions did go to those sub packages, was the nickel cornerback. He was starting at nickel. And we did a video on this months ago talking about Michael Ford. Maybe he has the ability to do this. He's got the speed for it. They're saying he looks really good transitioning out of breaks. His hips look very fluid. He's staying low to the ground. And it's very big, especially from the slot position, because he got a lot of quick little cuts, short intermediate routes, so you got to be able to stick in the hip of. Michael Ford absolutely has the speed. He's also been rotating as the second team as an outside cornerback, but he's been getting those top reps at nickel so far above Corn Elder. So he's working his way up fast, and he's also a really good special teams player. Michael Ford is one of those sleepers that, oh snap, Michael Ford, you might have just he may be coming into a big role this year for the Lions. And that's awesome because he's been here so much. The new regime brought him back. They gave him another shot. We've seen glimpses and flashes, but now we might get to see a lot of Michael Ford. And I'm so excited to hear that. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Let's go to the edge rusher position. This is Reggie Gilbert. All right, we've talked about him a few times, but I said Reggie Gilbert. I think he's really good comp for Austin Bryant. And today he played pretty darn well. He lined up across Matt Nelson, who is the number 2 tackle, I believe, and maybe the number 3 on the right side. I can't remember exactly what it was from yesterday. You know what? Let me check real quick. Let me check, because I want to know. This is a very important part. I want to know. Let me check. How y'all doing? The second right tackle, okay? And Reggie Gilbert had a big day today. They went 11 on 11. Again, they're not wearing pads, but it's about moves. It's about setting things up as a defensive end or as an edge rusher, I should say. And apparently he beat Matt Nelson multiple times. It would have resulted in a sack. He would have had a tackle today. Matt Nelson had a big day today. He actually got to a little bit of a scuffle, I would say, with Dan Skipper, where they kind of had to break it up. Nothing really came of it. But that's the Dan Campbell practice. Campbell wants that. He had that the first day when he took over Miami. And that's what happens. He wants that emotion coming out. He wants guys battling every down. And he got into a little bit of a scuffle with Dan Skipper, who is the left tackle, the third left tackle for the Detroit Lions. So interesting stuff there. Of course, if Cross is at a different spot, he'd be the second left tackle. So interesting stuff there. But Reggie Gilbert had a nice day today. And that's big time because we got a lot of edge defenders who worked after practice yesterday. They did that again today. And he's trying to work his way up the roll. And with no Austin Bryant, you got a chance to do it. You got a chance to push yourself up there. And that's exactly what he's doing. So you like to see that he's taking advantage of the opportunity. Very well balanced player from what I've seen. He can tackle well and he's a good pass rusher. You know, he's not super explosive. Maybe he isn't a crazy athlete, but he does seem pretty sound with some of his moves. All right. And he's played for multiple teams in the past. So good stuff to hear from Reggie Gilbert. Defensively, we saw sub packages. And from what I've read, I don't know exactly what the lines were in, but from what I've read is that they showed 4 defensive fronts. All right, again, this is only 3 receivers, so it's only 1 sub package, probably a nickel package. So we saw 4 defensive fronts, players in the defensive front, which apparently had 2 defensive tackles, and it had, you know, the 2 edge rushers or 2 edge defenders that would rotate between hand in the dirt and basically a 2-point stance, hand not in the dirt. All right, so basically from what it sounds like is maybe they're rotating between a 4-2-5, a 2-4-5, maybe even a 3-3-5 sort of in a way. But it's kind of that set of a 4 front, which is not super surprising. Because what Dom Capers did, it's the background of Aaron Glenn. That's why I was projecting the Lions would show that. Defensive tackle is Romeo, so that means he was pushed inside, like the Lions said on passing downs. They would push these guys inside. And at defensive tackle on the right side, they did use Lee McNeil a little bit on sub packages, which is interesting. He does have pass rushing upside. You don't see Levi's name mentioned again. Again, not every player is mentioned, so that'll be an interesting one because I think he'll be pushed inside a lot. But he's down deep on the depth chart, so he's got to work his way up. Nick Williams, Michael Brockers, okay, also interesting, and Trey Flowers. So it's not a great, you know, illustration here because I don't know exactly what we're seeing. It's kind of hard to read this and take in what we're seeing here. But the Lions did show some sub packages, and the big point here is that nickel cornerback was Michael Ford. Update on why Lee McNeil maybe is getting so many reps is apparently that John Pennicini had to get surgery this offseason. I didn't know this. He said he had to get surgery. He looked like he had a softball coming off his shoulder. That's what Dan Campbell said. It looked like there was this whole bunch of calcium build up. And he said, when I watched the film, I wonder why he wasn't using his arm. He's better now when you could see it yesterday. So apparently he had surgery this offseason. Did not know that at all. And he was very swelled up. His arm, he wasn't able to use it watching his film. Now I want to go watch the film back just to see if I can notice that. I don't know when this injury came upon. That's a little bit more of the reason why Lee McNeil's playing so much. But again, to me, Lee McNeil is NFL ready. I mean, that guy to me can play right now. He's ready to go. Another battle that I want to bring up has to be with special teams. Let's talk about special teams quick. Another battle, the kicking battle. All right, Randy Bullock, Matthew Wright, that's been a battle. And today, we saw Matthew Wright miss 1 kick, and apparently it was his final kick. Someone said they couldn't tell, but the other source said that he missed it. So he missed 1 kick. It was his final kick. Nothing crazy. It was between 27 and 42 yards, but it's something Dan Campbell has kept a close eye on. That's a great battle, and it's very close right now, but Matthew Wright may have missed his final kick. All right, so with the offensive line, 4 for 5 for Wright, 6 for 6 from Randy Bullock, from what I understand. So Bullock seems to have the slight leg up right now, slight advantage, but it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses throughout training camp because one miss ain't going to take you out of the running. It's a long training camp. But it is going to be interesting to see, especially through preseason, who the Lions go to. Do they mix it up? Do they play both Randy Bullock and Matthew Wright? I hope they do because I would like to see both in-game situations. That's completely different than in practice, right? In-game, I want to see these guys kicking. So hopefully we see that battle. It should be one of the better battles. Now, kick returner, we talked about punt returner yesterday. Kick returners for the Detroit Lions today when they split into that because yesterday was punt, today was kick. Kick returning, it was Khalif Raymond who was kind of the number 1 kick returner. So that's really a good thing for him because he's getting high reps now offensively. You know, we're talking about like first team, second team reps for the Lions, and also in special teams, he's getting the top reps. So that's a big deal for Raymond. He's looking like he's pushed himself into a roster spot. Also, we saw some Tom Kennedy, who had a good day today. He made a couple of grabs. He had a really efficient day today for the Lions, and he's got a really tough way to make this team. You know, he's got a long hill to climb up, but he had a good day today, which is nice. He's had a few good days in the past in training camp, so hopefully he can build on this. And Victor Bolden as well. Behind that, they kind of had their in an emergency, like cross training, right? They had Amon-Ra St. Brown. They had Godwin. Okay, Godwin, the running back transition from safety got some reps here. I like that because he's fast. I do like that. DeAndre Swift, and of course Jamal Williams, who was apparently dancing when this was going on. Okay, did Jamal even catch the ball? But those seem to be kind of like okay, if something happened, we could put these guys here because they have experience. But the top 3 right now are Raymond, Tom Kennedy, and Victor Bolden. So Victor Bolden and Raymond, man, that battle's awesome. And of course, Tom Kennedy, we'll see if he can surprise a lot of people this year and push his way up. On defense I would like to make is apparently Tom Kennedy looked good, and so did Jelani Tavai. Tavai looked a lot lighter. He looked leaner. Remember, it was one of Dan Campbell's rules. It was number 2. Rule number 2. We got to write this down. So we got to put this on the wall. Keep your weight in check. And Jelani Tavai looked quick. He looked quick on the field from what I'm hearing. He was able to stop running. He was able to jump outside, collapse it, force to run back inside, and then jump inside and beat a block because he looks that lean and that quick. He's lost a lot of weight. He's trimmed way down, and he's one of those guys that Dan Campbell's keeping his eye on that's battling for that inside linebacker rotation. I hope that he makes the team. I do. I want him to make the team. I'm rooting for him to make the team because he was good as a rookie. I think getting him back to that similar weight is going to be big time. We're going to see a completely different player, maybe even lighter, because if he's slimming down, no, he was never fast, but you don't need to be necessarily fast. You got to be smart. You got to put yourself in position. It's all positioning as a linebacker, really every position. So for him, may not be the fastest guy, may never be the fastest guy, but he does look a lot quicker on the field than he did, well, I would say last season. And that's a big deal because he's now competing for the inside linebacker role, less of the edge position for the Lions. Folks that we do have from practice, Trey Flowers said that he's having fun dropping into coverage. He said, I used to always look at the linebackers and say, oh, look at them. They get to get passes broken up. They get to lock up running backs, things like that. And I always did the same drill, right? He's attacking the quarterback off the defense line. He's like, now I'm actually having fun. It's made me become a better athlete because I have to be able to drop in coverage at my size and go take a running back out of the backfield. But he's having fun with it. He's enjoying it. And I mean, that's a good thing. Apparently, I mean, look at these Lions coaches, man. They didn't force guys here. They're doing it because they think it's what's going to work best. They put them in these positions because they think they're built to do it. Romeo talked about the transition, thinking that it's actually going to bring more and make him better. And now Trey Flowers saying he's having fun doing it. It's a transition, and he expects that. But in the words of Dan Campbell, he said this. The great thing about Trey Flowers is he works his rear off, and he's adaptable and tough. Trey Flowers has always been that. He's always been the head-down type of guy. Not super loud, but I'm going to go out here and work my butt off, and I'm going to be really good. May not all show up at a stat sheet, but I'm going to be really good game in and game out. You can always rely on me. Maybe getting paid for a lot. He should be doing that, but I'm just saying he's always been that for the Lions. So if there's a guy that can transition, I would bet on Flowers. And like I said, there's less athletic players that have done what Todd Wash is asking of them to do in the past. So I know that he's going to be able to do it. And that's one of the most fun things to watch is through those base sets, because especially now when they're running a lot of base sets, they're being asked to drop into coverage. So both of them talked about it, and both of them seem pretty happy with what's going on there. I do want to give a little note. It seems like the mental state we talked about yesterday is super important because apparently Jarrad Davis was contemplating retirement. Now, I know he's no longer with the Lions now, but he contemplated retirement. He thought about it. And that's crazy that you have a first-round pick that was only here for 4 years, contemplating retirement. He said, I was thinking about it. I burnt myself out. I put the game in front of basically my outside life. He said every time I made a mistake, it was in my head. It was stuck in my head. Lost a lot of confidence, and I had a lot of missteps. He felt like he couldn't do anything right. He was contemplating retirement. He said now the Jets defense is a little bit simpler, which we know was kind of an issue because the Lions said we got to get confidence back into these guys. We expect that to be the case this season as well. But that's very concerning. So it kind of shows you how important the mental side is. We would have never heard that. We never would have heard that. But he could have came out and just retired, and that would have just been like, whoa, what the heck just happened? You don't ever see that young guy. Maybe he didn't have a lot of success here. He was in the wrong defense for one. But, man, that's concerning. So, whoa, it just tells you how important the mental side of the game is, because when that's going down, it would have been nice for him to have a guy to talk to like the Lions have now. So that's why that kind of stuff is so important. But again, good day from training camp. I mean, can't really complain. It sounds pretty darn good. I would say the defense probably gets the nod up today because Okudah has been balling. Jerry Jacobs, we've heard some good things. Tight coverage. He's been surprising. Tavai looked quick. We've heard a lot of good things defensively. Reggie Gilbert had a big day. Second note before we end this, the Detroit Lions post-practice extra work has seemed to rub off on a lot of players because you see other guys doing it, you're like, man, I got to get out there and put in some extra work. And you also see other positions and guys that you're working with friends and they bring you into it. So a lot of guys are working post-practice. It's awesome. It seems to be expanding. Hopefully this keeps growing. But after practice, the last 4 guys there were TJ Hockenson, Victor Bolden, Khalif Raymond, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. All right, those 4 guys were the last guys off practice working on the jugs. TJ Hockenson, of course, is kind of like the leader of this. But, Victor Bolden, Khalif Raymond, St. Brown, all these receivers, man, they're working on them hands. And even Amon-Ra St. Brown, same thing yesterday as well. Same thing with Khalif. So it's good to see them out there. And a new addition, Victor Bolden. The entire offensive line put in extra reps. They split off work, went to go work by themselves. The leaders kind of took control of that. Frank, Deckers, they all take control of that. The defensive line did some work by themselves. Leaders are very important. And the Lions right now, they have them at pretty much every position. But this is what Michael Brockers brings to his table. It's these things. He's bringing it not only on the field, but off the field. Well, I guess it's both on the field. But this is what Michael Brockers brings, right? He brought in Deshaun Hand to work with him, but now here he is leading the pack. Guys are circling around watching him go through these drills, learning from him. Michael Brockers is doing exactly what he said he'd do. He wanted to lead by example, become a captain by example, not just say I'm a captain. And that's what he's doing. So credit to him for sticking to saying what he wanted to do and doing it. And the entire edge rusher position went out there and put in some extra work. And the linebackers finished on the jugs. They're all out there getting in extra work. So it's awesome to see that a lot of these guys are sticking around after practice and they're coming together because you stick around leaders. You stick around your friends, right? Hey, let's go work after practice. Do some extra work. All right, let's do it. Let's all work together on this. Hopefully this keeps expanding, and sometime we're talking about every single player was there after practice. Probably we'll get to that because they got meetings and things, but it's awesome. John Pennicini's coming off of surgery. That's awesome. Well, not awesome, but it's good that he's healthy now. But yeah, good notes from both sides. I'm just glad Goff is in control of that offense. And man, our coaching staff. I love our staff. If you guys love our staff, make sure you get a new Era shirt. All right, it has Aubrey Pleasant on there. You guys want an Aubrey Pleasant shirt. I know you do. I bought it because Aubrey Pleasant was on there. So get a new Era shirt. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.